It is happening right now. Weather satellites registered an anomaly that left scientists perplexed, but caused Bible scholars to open the book of Isaiah. Israel has just been hit by a devastating storm named Byron, one of the strongest in the last decade. While the political world discusses borders, heaven decided to redesign the geography with water. The coastal regions of Tel Aviv and Yavne were the first to collapse, but what I am going to show you now did not happen in the city. It happened where life is impossible. The Negev Desert and the arid Arava region, places accustomed to silence and dust, woke up yesterday with the roar of raging rivers. This phenomenon has a specific scientific name, a tropical plume. It is when moisture from the equator is violently sucked towards the desert, colliding with the Judean mountains and generating what the Bible calls the voice of the Lord, shaking the wilderness of Kadesh. Wadis, dry riverbeds that had not seen water for generations, overflowed with a violence that dragged military vehicles and blocked highways. Red alerts were sent to the entire south of Israel. What we are seeing is not just weather, it is geography bowing to prophecy. But pay attention, because the most shocking detail comes next. The situation is also complex in the conflict zones to the south. Torrential rains flooded underground infrastructures and affected civilian areas. It is a reminder that extreme weather events do not respect geopolitical borders. But while the media focuses on the urban scenario, we need to focus on the spiritual contrast occurring right now in the Middle East. It is a scenario of spiritual contrast that no newspaper will tell you. While Israel receives this deluge that will recharge its aquifers for years, its archenemy, Iran, faces the absolute opposite, a historic drought that many point to as a spiritual warning sign. And the data I am about to reveal is terrifying. Look at Mount Damavand. This dormant volcano is the highest peak in the Middle East and Western Asia. Historically, it is crowned by eternal snows. But since last autumn, something frightening has happened. The peak is bald. And the disaster is even greater. The famous Lake Urmia, which was once the largest saltwater lake in the Middle East and the cradle of Persian civilization, has shrunk by 95% and turned into a toxic salt desert. Recent climate data shows that ice cover in Iran, which was 4 square kilometers in 2022, has almost completely disappeared. The natural water tank of the Persian nation has dried up. The autumn of 2025 was officially the driest in Iran's modern history. While the floodgates of heaven open over Jerusalem, they have sealed shut over Tehran. But wait, because what the drought revealed at the bottom of the dam will give you goosebumps. With the dramatic retreat of the waters in the Karaj Dam, the lakebed exposed a tragic reality. Dozens of human remains were found in the dry mud. International reports indicate they may be victims of past political disappearances. The drought ended up bringing to light secrets that were hidden in the depths. The collapse is imminent. Meteorologists confirm that Iran is warming twice as fast as the global average, with an increase of 2 degrees since the 1960s. The scenario is a day zero for the capital, Tehran. Imagine a metropolis of 10 million inhabitants turning on the taps and nothing coming out. Desperation is so high that the Iranian president publicly proposed the radical idea of moving the capital to another location near the sea because Tehran has become uninhabitable. Can you imagine the level of divine judgment necessary to force a proud nation to abandon its historical capital due to a lack of water? They plan the escape, while Israel plans the blossoming. And here enters the divine irony that changes everything. Israel, geographically, has fewer natural water resources than Iran, but Israel lives under the promise. Even before this storm Byron, Israel had already conquered the desert with God-given intelligence. They developed a system where they recycle almost 90% of their wastewater for agriculture. While Iran wastes water with inefficient farming and illegal wells, Israel uses drip irrigation technology to make every drop count. They don't just survive, they have a water surplus. They pump desalinated water from the Mediterranean and send it hundreds of kilometers into the middle of the Negev Desert. The result? The Arava region, one of the most inhospitable on Earth, is today an export hub. Peppers, melons, tomatoes, and dates leave the desert for the tables of Europe. In winter, 60% of Israel's fresh vegetables come from that arid region. The world eats the fruit of Israel's miracle and doesn't even realize it. But what Storm Byron did yesterday goes beyond human technology. Technology takes years. God did it in 24 hours. By flooding the Negev Wadis, God accelerated the greening process. Within a few weeks, we will see the visual fulfillment of Isaiah 35. The wilderness and the solitary place shall be glad, and it shall blossom as the rose. But before I show you how this storm is accelerating the Dead Sea prophecy, I need to give you a quick alert. Many channels do not deliver this type of biblical truth. They prefer entertainment. If you want to continue receiving these prophetic alerts before they happen, hit the subscribe button now to ensure you are not left in the dark when the next sign comes. Have you subscribed? Great. Now look at what is happening in the desert. This is not poetry. It is prophetic botany. Seeds that lie dormant in the ground for years, waiting for the latter rain, are going to explode into life. The desert will become a carpet of flowers. For the tourist, it is pretty. For the watchman, it is the sign that the millennial kingdom is knocking at the door. The Bible says in Isaiah 41, verse 18, "I will open rivers in high places and fountains in the midst of the valleys. I will make the wilderness a pool of water." Yesterday, we saw exactly that, the desert becoming a lake. The prophecy ceased to be ink on paper and became mud and water. But the strongest sign is not that it is what is happening with the trees. Another powerful sign is the forced reforestation effort. Israel has already planted over 250 million trees. Entire forests, like the Yatir forest and the Lahav forest, were created from scratch on the edge of the desert. They are fulfilling Isaiah 51 verse 3, "He will make her wilderness like Eden," with their own hands. These forests change the microclimate, attract more clouds, and fix the soil. Man plants the tree, and God sends Storm Byron to water it. It is a partnership between the people and the Creator to prepare the land for the King's return. You need to understand the gravity of what I am going to say next. The most impressive transformation, and which yesterday's storm accelerated, is happening in the deadest place on earth, the Dead Sea. The prophecy of Ezekiel 47 says that waters will flow from the temple and heal that salty sea, bringing fish and life. Yesterday we saw rivers of fresh water rushing violently into the Dead Sea. The extreme salinity is being diluted, little by little. Scientists already report the appearance of sinkholes, craters with water, on the shores where freshwater fish and algae are managing to survive. Life is invading death. Geologists call these craters sinkholes. Why? They are physical proof that fresh water is springing from underground amidst the salt, forcing life to return. The prophet Zechariah, in chapter 14, verse 8, gives us a precise geographic detail that often goes unnoticed. "And it shall be in that day that living waters shall go out from Jerusalem, half of them toward the former sea, and half of them toward the hinder sea." This means that Jerusalem will be the epicenter of a new global hydrology. Water will flow to both sides. Yesterday, the storm covered both the coast and the valley. It was a dress rehearsal for the millennium. Jerusalem has always had a mystical relationship with water. It was not built on the banks of a great river. It was built on top of a dry mountain. Its only source of life was the Gihon Spring. God did that on purpose, so that the city would depend on heaven and not on the earth. The Gihon Spring is legendary. It was there that Solomon was anointed king. And it was to protect that water that King Hezekiah performed one of the greatest feats of ancient engineering. He dug a tunnel of 533 meters through solid rock, using only pickaxes to divert the water inside the walls. And why does this matter to us today? Today, you can walk through that tunnel with water up to your knees. It is physical proof that, in Jerusalem, water is worth more than gold. The pool of Siloam, where the tunnel ends, was where Jesus healed the blind man. Water in Jerusalem always meant miracle, vision, and survival. In the millennium, that dependency will change. The water will no longer come from a hidden tunnel. It will come directly from the throne. Ezekiel saw the river being born from under the threshold of the temple. Theology will become ecology. The presence of God will generate physical resources. Today, the Temple Mount is a hollow structure, full of gigantic underground cisterns capable of storing millions of liters of rain. Yesterday's storm must have filled those ancient reserves to the brim. The tank of the third temple is being supplied. So, what is the prophetic timeline we are watching live? Grab a pen and paper, because I am going to summarize the 6 prophetic steps now based on the Bible. We are advancing through them at this exact moment. Step 1. The Messiah reigns in Jerusalem. Step 2. The temple is erected. The plans and utensils are already ready. Step 3. The supernatural river flows. Yesterday's storm showed the path the water will take. Step 4. The Dead Sea is healed. The influx of fresh water yesterday accelerated that process visually. Step 5. The desert blooms like Eden. Israel is already doing that with technology, and now God helped with the rain. Step 6. The entire creation is restored. We are living in the accelerated transition between Step 4 and Step 5. Nature is responding. The climate is screaming, and the contrast with Iran confirms who the protagonist of this story is. But the question that will not be silenced is, why now? End times science will try to explain all this without God. They will say that the drought in Iran is mismanagement, and the rain in Israel is El Niño. And they are partially right, but they ignore the timing. Why simultaneously? Observe the synchronization of these events. Does it not seem strange that exactly at the moment of greatest geopolitical tension in the region, water resources change so drastically? While men draw maps and discuss borders in closed cabinets, heaven draws rivers in the desert. The rain descends to show which soil is under the covenant. The final answer is not in politics, it is in the water. And you? How do you react to this news? The world sees catastrophe on TV. The watchman sees prophecy. Jesus said, "When these things begin to come to pass, then look up." The roaring of the waves and the distress of nations are the sound of the Messiah's footsteps. Do not fear climate chaos. Storm Byron scares, but it brings life. The drought in Iran scares, but it brings justice. God is in control of the global thermostat. But I need to give you a practical warning. Yesterday's storm showed the fragility of our modern civilization. Luxury cars were swept away like plastic toys. When judgment comes, technology does not save. Only the covenant saves. Is your house built on the rock or on the desert sand? Because when the rain descends and the rivers overflow, Matthew 7, only the house on the rock remains standing. Spiritually, do you have foundations for the days of extremes that are coming? Wherever you are now, close your eyes for an instant and pray this with me to affirm your house on the rock. Sovereign God of Israel, we stand now before your greatness. Just as we saw your waters fill the dry desert, we ask today, flood also the desert of our soul. Lord, the world is shaking, but we choose to secure our house upon the rock, which is Christ. Forgive our distraction. Wash our eyes so that we may see your time. Do not allow the fear of chaos to dominate us, but let the hope of your coming strengthen us. Protect our family under your blood. May the same rain that waters Zion water our faith now. We declare, the King is returning, and we will be ready. In the name of Jesus, amen. And now that you have affirmed your covenant, let us go deeper. While we watch the waters rising in Israel, we need to look to the north, where the waters are disappearing. The prophecy of Revelation 16, verse 12, speaks about the river Euphrates drying up to prepare the way for the kings of the east. The contrast is surgical. While the river of Babylon, Iraq, Syria, is dying and turning to dust, the rivers of Zion are being reborn. It is a prophetic redistribution of global water resources. The water is leaving the lands of the ancient exile and returning to the land of promise. And the prophecy of Ezekiel 47 is very specific. It says that, "The fishers shall stand upon it from En-Gedi even unto Eneglaim." En-Gedi is not just any place. It was the oasis where David hid from King Saul. Today, the beaches of En-Gedi are retreating and full of holes. But yesterday's storm brought a torrent of water exactly over that canyon. God is marking the exact spot where, in the future, fishing nets will replace salt crystals. Scientists know that the Jordan River and the Dead Sea are sitting on a massive tectonic fault, the Syrian-African Rift. Zechariah 14 says that the Mount of Olives will split in half. Geologists confirm that there is a gigantic, deep aquifer trapped beneath Jerusalem. Storm Byron may be just the surface trigger. The true river of living waters may come from a seismic rupture that will release those deep waters, uniting rain from the sky and fountains from the abyss. And there is more. In Jewish thought, natural rain, mayim shayim, is the only valid water to fill a mikvah, the ritual purification tank. A mikvah cannot be filled with tap water. What happened yesterday in Israel can be seen spiritually as a national mikvah. God is purifying the soil that was stained by wars. To understand the size of the miracle needed in the Dead Sea, look at the chemistry. The salinity there is 34%, while the ocean is only 3.5%. No complex life supports that. The violent influx of fresh water we saw yesterday is the beginning of that divine hemodialysis, diluting the poison to allow life. Isaiah 42 says, "Let the wilderness and the cities thereof lift up their voice, the villages that Kedar doth inhabit." Kedar is one of the sons of Ishmael, father of the Arabs and Bedouins. Yesterday, videos showed Bedouins in the Negev celebrating the rain. The prophecy of restoration also involves the inhabitants of the desert. The rain is a sign of cosmic reconciliation. Returning to Israel. In the coming weeks, pay attention to social media. You will see photos of the Negev Desert covered in flowers. It will be a spectacle of surreal beauty in the middle of a world at war. Use those images. Show them to your children, to your skeptical friends. Say, "Look, the Bible said 2,700 years ago that the desert would bloom." It is happening today. Prophecy fulfilled is the greatest apologetics that exists. And look also at Saudi Arabia. They are spending trillions on the NEOM project to try to green the desert artificially. It is man's attempt to imitate the millennium without the Messiah. But only God's rain brings real life. Storm Byron has passed, the water will recede, but the mark remains. The soil absorbed the message. The geography of Israel is ready to receive the river of life. And now, the choice is yours. Iran will continue to dry up as long as it persists in hatred against the apple of God's eye. Israel will continue to bloom, not by its own merit, but because of the covenant made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The choice today is clear. Which side of history do you want to be on? On the side that dries up, or on the side that blooms? On the side of the curse or the blessing? Share this urgent video. The algorithm needs to understand that biblical prophecy is a relevant subject. Send it to your church group, your family group. Wake up those who are sleeping. Leave your like and comment down below the prophetic phrase, "The desert has bloomed." Let us declare this together in the comments. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell. Here we do not invent news. We read the newspaper with the glasses of the Bible. Get ready. After the rain comes the harvest. The Lord of the harvest is returning. The time is short. The sign has been given. The waters have descended. The King is coming. Shalom.